Good day, everybody, and welcome to Let's Talk, the Todd Worsham Show. Well, today's episode is called "The Times Are a Changin'." I believe that was Bob Dylan. Maybe, I don't know. I'm old enough to remember that. I'm old enough to have, was that Blood on the Tracks? I don't remember what album that is. Yeah, I'm old enough to know who Bob Dylan is. I actually seen him in concert. At any rate, so we're going to kind of do Todd's ADHD thing and probably bounce all over the place here a little bit. But I'm gonna try to keep things on my notes. I'm gonna try to keep things in order and try to keep them good so I don't lose you all. You never want to be in my brain. uh, Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse? No, it's not that bad. So first of all, I want to apologize because a couple of weeks ago on one of my episodes, I had made a statement that there was going to be a lot of countries in Europe that were going to go to center right. And I have to say, I stand corrected. That did not happen. um, and I don't understand why it didn't happen because a lot of things happening right now that just don't make sense. So if everybody's crying about democracy and you have a population that is, let's just say over 50%, right? Because that would be democracy, right? Over 50% would be, I would say that would be a majority rule. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not a mathematician. But but if over 50% of a population agrees that they want something, and then the government turns around and does the total opposite, or just does what they choose to do, what is that called? Is that still democracy? I don't know. Because I'm pretty pissed off that it's happening here. But if you watch the world news and you keep up with world news, what's going on around in Europe and in other places, Iran, South America, China, if you keep in touch with things, it doesn't really. I don't know. Looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, probably a duck. I don't know. If over 50% of your population states that they want to go center more to the center and go back to, better values, and they want their borders closed and they want their culture retained and all that kind of stuff, then, I'm not really sure how the other countries work, but here in America, the government does not run this country. The people do. And people need to wake the fuck up and start understanding this. And you all need to start doing, and even me, because I know I make the statement a lot, and I'm gonna do my due diligence this year, and I'm gonna start looking up judges and DAs and all kinds of stuff, and start even looking for town hall meetings and all that kind of stuff, because we the people are who control this country, and you have to remember that this isn't a joke. This is how the United States of America runs. And when you open your border, and this isn't in our country, this is, you're watching it go on in England. I mean, England now is going to go from probably a Christian country to a Muslim country. Now, I'm not picking on one religion or another, because if you watch me, you know what I feel about religion. I don't like religion. I think it sucks, and I think it's horrible, and I think I would get rid of all religions. All of them. Religion has killed more people than any single other thing known to man. Nothing's killed more people than religion. So I personally would get rid of it, because the whole reason, you protect your borders is to protect your culture. How your country grew, what its history was, and means to be of those peoples. So, like, if you're an American, and it's a funny question because, if you ask, what is an American culture, and and they'll laugh at you and they'll say, Chevrolet and hot dogs. Well, first of all, it's not Chevrolet; it should be Ford. But we won't go down that road. And you can't say hamburger because that's German. Well, I don't know; it's a German word, but and hot dogs, I think, were invented I think they're from overseas too. And I think it was Coney Island. I don't know. I did a little bit of research on that one time, but I'm too old. I don't remember shit half the time, so forgot about what it is. But I'm pretty sure that the Coney Island, but I don't know. I could be wrong on that. But anyway, my point being is, so when you open your border, the problem that's happening today versus yesterday, because the times they are changing. In yesterday's world, when you submitted your paperwork, or even if you came here illegally and you processed in and, we gave you a chance and blah, 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 whatever, you assimilated into the American culture, but yet keeping your own culture, like the Asians. The Asians they're probably one of the best at this because they all love America. They love to celebrate our holidays. They like the American way of life, but at the same time, they also do their own cultures and their own tradition. They keep their culture, which I think is really cool. Americans are kind of funny because we come from all over the planet, which is like a lot of cultures, right? English, British, or English, French, German, Cuban, you name it. There's Korean, Vietnamese, Chinese, Japanese. There's pretty much, African. There's pretty much everybody here from the world. I bet if you did research, you would find that there's at least one person probably from every square inch of this planet here in America. And that would not surprise me. In fact, it would surprise me if just the opposite, if there wasn't. That would surprise me. And that's great. Myself as an American, I have no issues with people migrating here. But with us as a country, we the people, you got to look out for your house. You got to look out for your family. You got to look out for your country. And you can't just let anybody in the door. No one. Try to migrate to Australia. If you have a domestic violence or certain misdemeanors or a felony, you're done. But there's certain things that if you have, you can't even apply for citizenship there. And then what's the other one? Hungary. Hungary, good luck getting into Hungary. And Hungary's got no issues. They have none of these issues that we're having, that Europe's having. All these dumbass countries that open their fucking borders are the ones that are having this issue. Why? Because these illegal immigrants don't assimilate. Look at, was it Michigan? So many people, and I'm not racist and all that kind of crap. I don't believe that shit. It doesn't matter. I'm calling it out as it is. Okay, I'm calling it out. So you get certain parts of the country where certain cultures, religions move into certain areas, and then they start overtaking the political system. For example, Ilmar, right? Or Omar, or whatever her name is. The one that said some people did something to some building. Yeah. Well, the only reason why she gets elected is because she lives in a district that's all Muslim. So what happens is now the Muslims, and I have nothing against Muslims on a personal level. I don't. What I have an issue with is I have an issue with the radicals that are in our country. And they are trying to systematically break down our culture. And one of the ways that these people do this is by not assimilating. When you come into America, you should never wave another flag unless it's an ally. You should never burn an American flag. We have rules here. So when you come to our country, when these people come to our country, in my opinion, they either need to follow our culture, follow our laws, and follow our ways, or get the fuck out. I mean, it's just, I don't know how else to say it. And it has nothing to do with racism or discrimination or any of that kind of stuff. It's all called one thing, two things: sovereignty and safety. When you have people that go on international TV, and when you have people that send signals out and they plaster slogans all over the country, all over the world, that say death to Christians and death to America and death to Israel, and so when you have a certain religion faction, because I don't think I have a lot of Muslim friends, so to me it's not the religion. To me, it's the people. It's those bad people that are making this bad. So I want to be really, really careful on this. Okay? I don't hate Muslims. Okay? I need you to hear that and say that. What I do hate is the radicals. And the same thing on the right side. KKK or Aryan Brothers and SWP, or people who create or support or dictate hatred against another religion or race or whatever. No, I don't care. I don't give a fuck who you are. I'm not. I don't want a part of that. I don't believe in that. So what you have to do, in my opinion, is you have to separate the garbage from the good stuff. So just because there's bad, something over here, what's the old saying? Don't let one apple spoil the whole tree. I agree with that. And I think that's a good way to think about it, because there's bad people in everything. There's bad cops. There's bad doctors. Look at, Dr. Fauci. I mean, but that's all I got to say. There's bad doctors. I'm in aviation. There's horrible mechanics, and there's horrible managers, and doesn't matter where you go in life, there's always a percentage of bad people. But those percentages on the norm are fairly low. They're not that big. But anyway, so the times are changing, because what I'm seeing with my eyes is I'm seeing these countries that whom had a culture for thousands of years is now getting overran and being taken up by another religion. That's what I see. I don't know. I'm not in Europe. I'm not there, but I do have friends. I have really good friends. I consider them family. They come here quite often to visit me, and they live there. So that's where I get my information from, and they should probably pretty know. But from what I see on the news, it looks like it's getting really bad, especially just like here in the metropolitan cities, in the big cities and stuff like that. It's horrible here, but thank God here in Arizona, we've still been able to hold on to some law and order, and thank God everybody carries a gun here, because I tell you what, you want to come to Arizona and be a criminal, good luck with that. Because odds are, if the person you're trying to rob doesn't shoot you, cops are going to shoot you. So go ahead, come to Arizona and be a criminal, because you're not going to live long. I'm telling you. And I love it. I hope my state never goes blue. But anyway, so it's real important that we vote, and that it's real important that we pay attention to what's going on in our world, because we do have the ability to change things, mostly by knowledge, by learning things, finding things, by prayer. Um, yeah. So let's change all that. All right. So let's move on to something else. Oh, Jesus. I can't not say anything about it. The United States presidential debate. Oh my God. after after the first question, maybe it's something into the second question. I can see it was over with. It's I don't want to say anything bad, because it's I actually don't blame Biden. I really don't. I've been watching him for 3 years, and I honestly, in my heart of hearts, I honestly believe he doesn't have a clue what's going on. I don't think he has for a while. I don't think he's had a clue what's going on since probably 2018 or 2019. I really don't. I don't think he even knows what's going on around him. I watched so many videos of him, listen to his words, pay attention to his facial expressions, look at his eyes, and it saddens me, because what I see somebody who's like not there. It's like when you look into those black eyes, there's like no life behind them. It's sad. And then to watch his wife come out and just like be like, the super cheerleader. Go. What does Trump do? He lies. All right. Whatever. They all lie, so what's the difference, right? I mean, that's what everybody always used to say before. But when Trump lies, it's different than when everybody else lies. Anyway, it's so easy to fact check Joe. It's really easy to fact check both of them, actually, and I have, and I will say for a fact that, in my opinion, that Trump is a huge exaggerator, and it's not. I'm not trying to make excuses, but to me, it's not that he lies. He just doesn't say things right way or something. I don't know, but just call it a lie, I guess. But because it happens, but it's different the way that he said. Like when he said he was gonna Mexico was gonna pay for the wall. Okay, Mexico did not pay for the wall, but Mexico did pay for 30 or 29,000 troops to go to the border. How much do you think that cost Mexico? How many tens of millions, if not billions? I would say probably at least tens of millions. But let's say, how many tens of millions of dollars do you think that costs Mexico every year to keep those troops there? And then not only that, Trump wouldn't let them in the United States, so they all had to camp out on the Mexico side, and then they had to take care of that. So you're right, Trump lied. Mexico did not pay for the border wall, but the way I guess justify it, the way I see it, Mexico did pay, because we didn't have to pay to put our troops down there. So, I mean, that took a huge burden off of our country. So we actually got Mexico, or Trump got Mexico to financially take care of something that benefited us. Actually benefited both countries, but mostly us. So I would say that's a form of a payment. But instead of just saying that, because when you're a narcissist, that's just how it is. And Trump is a narcissist. But yeah. So I guess that's a lie. So I mean, I'll buy that. I wouldn't argue it. because it's true. It's not factual. Mexico did not pay for the wall, so that is a fact. But they're not lies like, oh yeah, I grew up in a synagogue, and then a week later, oh yeah, I grew up in a black church, and then 3 weeks later, oh yeah, I drove truck, and then a few months later, it's, oh yeah, I used to drive ships all over the place, or trains, or I don't know. It's like everywhere he goes and does a function, he always brags that he's done that. And I'm thinking, he must be the real live Forrest Gump. That's what we should start calling him. Forrest Biden, or Biden Gump. That's what we'll call him, Biden Gump. Because just like old Forrest, man, he's done everything. The dude is insane. And I sit here and I think, well, crap, Trump's a billionaire. And he hasn't done all those things. But whatever. Anyway, it's kind of entertaining, but it's also sad because I really don't believe that he knows what he's saying. I really don't. I believe he's a puppet. And I'm not going to get into all the conspiracy crap. But the debate was, if you are still going to vote for Biden, you are doing your country a huge disservice. No matter what you think about Trump, I don't care what you think about him. He already did 4 years, and no, the country did not disappear. He did not turn into a dictatorship. He did not jail people. He didn't start World War III. He didn't collapse the economy. He didn't do anything that he was accused of being done before he became president. None of it came to fruition. None. Zero. None of it happened. So for all these people to come out and talk all this crap right now of what's going to happen if he's elected, when, gee whiz, he was just president 4 years ago, and nothing even on that level happened, and you saw nothing in his character or nothing in anything to even remotely suggest that he was going to do any of those things. So what the hell? It's like, I got to bang my head, and I think, for you to vote for Joe Biden is putting a stake through your country's heart. Even if you hate Trump. Because if Biden were to become the president again, you won't know who's controlling your country. Because if you don't have enough common sense right now in your brain to watch Joe Biden for less than 2 minutes and to not comprehend that he is not of his capabilities, then you're in denial, or you're just completely a moron. And I don't mean that to be rude to anybody, but I mean that's a denial. I mean, anybody could. I remember when my grandfather got to that stage, when he started losing it. There's no way I would have pushed him out and made him do stuff and put him in harm's way and threw him up on a stage. Oh, no. I think Jill needs to go to jail. I would call elder abuse by the whole Democratic Party, to be honest with you. It's wrong. What's happening is wrong. And just think, if he becomes president, you will not know who is in control. So if you don't know who's in control, how do you know how to make decisions? How do you know what to do? So what do you think that's going to do to our financial system, our banking system, our housing system, our educational system? What are you going to think? So just to give you a quick rundown on how things work in our country. When a president gets in office, where the direction is clear, whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. What matters is that the direction is clear. Okay? So once that happens, then the systems in America, the financial systems, the housing systems, all these different entities, they know how to forecast now. They can say like, oh yeah, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. They know that because this administration, this is what they're pushing, so you know what's going to happen. Like, for example, in the Biden administration, if you had money, you knew to put it in green investments. Okay? Because if you threw your money in there for the last 3 or 4 years, you probably made a shitload of money because the government has been laundering money through the Green New Deal like crazy, trillions. So they're laundering all the money, and it's going everywhere. In fact, I think there's still over $100 billion. I can't remember the numbers. There was over $100 billion still left over from the COVID money. So it hasn't been spent yet. And then there's all these other funds that still have hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars in these funds. And they still haven't been used, and the money's just sitting there. So this is the part of the government that I don't understand. And then our deficit, right? We are up to, what is it? Something like almost $900 billion in interest a year. 900. So our interest on our loans for our country will soon be at $1 trillion. So imagine this. You lose your job. You got all these credit cards. And you just start systematically living off of them. And every time you max it out, you call the bank up. And the bank says, oh yeah, sure. Yeah, sure, I'll give you another $10,000. You run that up. You go back to the bank. Oh, sure, we'll give you another $10,000. Well, how many times do you think the bank is going to do that? Especially if your country or your job doesn't pay you enough money to even make the interest payment. I mean, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think we're at like 4 trillion GNP, but I'm not sure. I would say it's probably around that. But just think of it. Let's hypothetically say it's 4 trillion. Well, $1 trillion of that is just the interest. So that leaves us just 2 to run the whole country. That means weapons, border security, infrastructure, bridges, all kinds of stuff. And it doesn't leave us much to deal with all that stuff. So you can't do that. So, I mean, Biden has just, I don't even know, because I don't want to get in fights with people, and I don't want to sound condescending or think that, Trump is better, because I don't want, it's not about that. It's not about politics. It's just, forget the names. Just look at reality and see things for what they really are, because that's what they are. They are what you are seeing. So when you watch him on his rallies or his functions or whatever he does, so when you watch him, if you can't tell that he's got some marbles missing, he cannot run our country. That's insane. I mean, that's like just taking somebody out of the Alzheimer's hospital and throwing them up on the podium, put a Bible under their hand, swear them in, send them to the freaking White House, and say, okay, run the country. Because I guarantee you by the election time, well, I shouldn't say guarantee you, but it would not surprise me if by the election date that Joe Biden doesn't even know who he is. That would not surprise me. I hope that doesn't happen. But like I said, I feel bad for him, and I don't feel bad for him, because if you do research on Joe Biden, he's always been a nasty person. He's always been condescending from day one. And how people kept re-electing this person into office is beyond me. I mean, it's so much. It's one thing that he's an ass, but for the constituents to keep voting in the same piece of garbage, what does that say about your city or your state? I mean, every time I see AOC or Ilmar, that's what I think. I don't so much get pissed off at them. I think about the people that voted those people in. I mean, if that's your voice, wow. Sorry. Remind me to never go that part of town. All right. So anyway, there you have it. The times, they are changing. They're changing. And don't let them take our culture away. Don't let them take America. I'm telling you. Got to close our borders. We got to get our sovereignty back. All right. Thank you, everybody. See you next Thursday. Bye.